Hey guys, welcome back to Play Retro. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Javi, and today I want to show you guys how you can flash my absolute favorite custom firmware for this device in front of me, the RG35XX, the standard one. I know the Plus is out now, but I wanted to show some love to this handheld because it really is an excellent handheld. Even now, it just received a discount after the Plus and the XXH have been released. So this is even better value. And for everyone out there who has one of these, this video is for you. We will be installing MinUI, which is my absolute favorite custom firmware. So I'm going to show you how you can do this. You can change your boot logo. I personally like to put faces on my handhelds just to add a little bit more personality to them, and this is the firmware itself. So in today's video, we're going to change the boot logo, we're going to install MinUI, we're going to create collections, which I'll show you what that is right now. We're going to change the charging animation, and we'll also add an input tester. So this is what you can expect from this video. This is my personal build that I use all the time. So here's some examples of what collections can look like. You can put entire series together, like Metroid, or maybe you love Pokemon. You can put all those games together. You can put all your Pokemon ROM hacks together to a nice little folder. You can put your favorites here. You can put in game genres. Really, the sky's the limit. You guys can get really creative with it. Maybe shoot 'em ups. Maybe you love racing games. Whatever you're into, we can make like collections for, which is really nice. And then you have your individual systems. You have your Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, etc, etc, etc. I also want to show you, here we have a clock, real-time clock. We also have a file manager, really good. You can delete ROMs, move ROMs around, move saves, change saves, whatever you got to do. And then we have this is new. We have an input tester now, which is awesome. This is usually only available on the stock OS, so it's really nice to see here. And we're gonna do a trick to get this onto this version. Okay, the version we are installing is this one right here. So this is the latest one you can get for this device. Anything after this you will not be able to get. I want to make this very, very clear. You have to use this build or else this will not work. I have tried it multiple times. It's not possible. You must use 2023-03-26 or this will not work. Okay, this is pretty much key to the installation of this entire custom firmware. So in this video, we're going to be doing a single card setup. I'll be showing you how to do a single card setup. In my case, I just use a little 32GB SD card, keeping with the theme of, you know, having a minimal setup. But you can also do a 2-card setup. I will show you how to do that in the video. I'm not actually going to do it on my own device, but I will tell you how. The process is more or less the same, except when you're doing all the ROMs partition stuff, you're going to put that stuff onto your second SD card, and then the process is exactly the same from there. So yeah, I'm not going to bore you with any more intro. In front of me is basically everything you're going to need for this tutorial. You're going to need your micro SD card reader, whatever kind you have. You're going to need a 32GB for a single card setup or higher, whatever you want to do. You may need your stock SD card if you want to get some of the games and BIOS files and saves off of it if you've been playing on it, as well as that. If you're doing a 2-card setup, I want you to get a 64GB or higher for your second SD card where your games are going to be located. And yeah, so without further ado, go ahead and start with your SD card number 1, your 32GB, and let's get this on the computer. Okay guys, so welcome to my computer. In front of me is basically everything you're going to need for this tutorial. So let's start with some preparation. So as I mentioned before, you're going to need your micro SD card reader, and for a single card setup, you're going to need a 32GB or higher SD card, or for a 2-card setup, you're going to need a 16GB or 32GB SD card, and another that's like 64 gigs or higher for your games. Okay, the last thing you're gonna need is a little bit of patience, because this does take a few more steps than other custom firmwares if you've never flashed in MinUI before, at least for this. Finally, you're gonna need some programs. I always use the same ones. I use MiniTool Partition Wizard, which is right over here. We We have Rufus. You can also use Balena Etcher. I just stick to Rufus though. And you're gonna also need 7-zip for a couple things. Okay. As always, these programs will be linked in my description, so you don't worry about having to find them or anything. I'm going to provide links for everything. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing you should do is go ahead and insert your SD card into your computer. I believe mine is right here already. So go ahead and go into your MiniTool partition wizard. We're just going to have a look at the SD card. In my case, my SD card is already FAT32 because it's a 32 gigabyte. Usually they're already formatted to FAT32. However, if you have a bigger size card, it's most likely not going to be FAT32. So what I want you to do is right click it. You're going to delete this partition. You're going to press apply, hit yes, and then press OK. And now I want you to format it. You're going to right click it. You're going to create. And then right over here under file system, you're going to go over here and click down to FAT32. Click on that. Drive letter doesn't really matter. I try not to do D. Just do anything else. And click OK. Hit apply and yes. Give this a second. Okay, so that's step one. You formatted your SD card to FAT32. Okay. Next step, let's download our necessary files. So we're gonna head over to this. We're gonna head over to this page right over here, and we're gonna grab this release, the MiniUI dated for 03/26. Okay, I will provide direct links to this, so don't worry about trying to find it again. So you're gonna click this little arrow right here where it says assets, and you'll see two things. You're gonna grab the base, and you're gonna grab the extras. Okay, you'll also need this right over here. It says Anbernic RG35XX TF1 stock firmware. I'm going to click assets and just click the first one. It says TF1 image.zip, and then give that a second to download. Okay, so once those are done, you can basically go ahead and extract those. So you can click right click, extract all, and just extract it. Do all three. And once that is done, you're going to have another folder that's just a regular folder, not a zip folder. And then you can go ahead and drag these three folders to your desktop so they're easy to find, okay? So I've already gone ahead and done that. So you can see I have my base, have my extras, and I have my TF1, okay? Perfect. So now we're going to open Rufus, and so making sure we are on the correct SD card. Right over here on device. I know this is correct. This is the only SD card I have in my computer, so I know it's correct. Then I want you to click over here where it says select. You're gonna go into that your desktop where it says TF1 image. Click that disk image file. Click open, and then all you're gonna do is press start. It's gonna give you a little warning. Press OK, and now just give this a second to write the image. Okay, so for me it took me 41 seconds to write that image. You can go ahead and close out of Rufus now. Now going back to MiniTool partition wizard, you will now see that your SD card will look something like this. Now I want you to take that ROMs partition, just delete it. Now you want to press apply. Okay, and now this unallocated space, you want to create a partition. Yes, and then you want to hit FAT32. Give it another drive letter for G, whatever, G for games, and then you want to give it a label. Label it ROMs. Press OK, hit apply, yes, boom, and now we're done with this part. So you've essentially expanded that ROMs partition. So we can close out of this for now. Okay, so you've done step 2 and 3. You flashed the TF1 image, and you've expanded the ROMs partition. So for our next step, we're going to actually go into our ROMs partition right over here. And now, let's go into that base folder we downloaded. Okay. And now I want you to copy over these four: BIOS, ROMs, saves, and MiniUI.zip. Just copy the entire folder over into your ROM's partition. And then this one right over here, the dmenu.bin, we're gonna move that into this partition right over here called the MISC, and just drag that over here, and you're done with that part. This is very important. Do not forget this. Dmenu.bin goes in the MISC partition. Okay, just drag that over here. This is where all your battery stuff is in your boot logo. Okay, so now moving back to the ROMs partition, we can close out of this, and now let's open up that extras folder, and now I want you to copy everything that's in here over into the ROMs partition. So now I actually want you to open up both these readmes, because there's some decent stuff in here that I do want you to know. First of all, important BIOS files that you will need to know. Okay, so I want you to read through this README. Really, it just goes over how to update and stuff like that. It does have installation instructions, but you don't need to pay attention to that. And then it does cover the BIOS files, which is really important. So these are the BIOS files you're going to need for the most part. If you go into your BIOS folder right now, you will see folders corresponding to each different system, and in here you want to place all your BIOS files. So we're going to do that actually together right now. Only certain systems need BIOS files. Okay, so this is my BIOS folder right over here, and now GB needs gb_.bin. Go ahead and copy that. MGBA needs GBA_bios.bin. Go ahead and copy that. MGBA needs the exact same one, so you can go ahead and copy that. GBC needs GBC_bios.bin. GG needs bios.gg. MD, okay, FC needs disksys.rom. PlayStation needs PSX on PSP. Okay, I got most of the important ones. I don't use Super Gameboy, and I don't play this system at all. PC Engine, I'm probably not gonna play at all. But yeah, if you will be playing them, make sure you have the correct BIOS files. Okay, so that's the BIOS done. And now let's go ahead and populate these folders with our games. So for this example, I'm just going to be doing 50 games, various systems. So starting with Gameboy. Oops. Go ahead and drag over all your games. Let's do Game Boy Advance. If you prefer the MGBA core, you can use that as well. That's better for Rumble games and games that use like the solar sensor. Game Boy Color over here. Okay. Genesis. Okay. And then SNES. Okay. And just like that, we're pretty much done with this part right now. So before we eject this and we take it out, so we got our BIOS files, we got our games. If you have saves, you also want to put your saves in here. If you have some saves you want to transfer over from a previous device, go ahead and do that now. You can put them in corresponding systems over here in the save folder. Okay, so we've got our BIOS files, we got our ROMs, we've got all our files that we pretty much need, our save files. We're pretty much good to get off the computer and install MinUI. So go ahead and eject this, and now let's get off the computer. Okay, so I've gone ahead and ejected this 32 gigabyte SD card, and now let's put it in the system. Okay, so once it boots, you're going to see Anbernic, and then it's going to flash, and it's going to say installing MinUI. So now you're just going to give this a second. It might flash a couple more times, and then you'll see it's going to boot. And once you see that second logo, you know you're good to go. And boom, here we are. When you first boot into it, the brightness is going to be a little bit low. You want to press and hold the menu button and the volume rocker to adjust the brightness. And here we are. You should see all your games in here now. Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Sega Genesis, and SNES. You should also have a tools in here. You'll have a clock and a files, but we're missing the input, and we're gonna add that right now. As well as change the boot logo, and we're gonna change the battery animation, and then we're gonna make a collection so we can put some games together, maybe a favorites list or something. Okay? So now that we're done with this part, you can turn this off. And now you're safe to eject. And now let's get back on the computer. Okay, so I've gone ahead and reinserted my micro SD card into my computer. And now let's go ahead and change our boot logo. So I've gone ahead and I've created a few of these fun little faces to give our handheld a little bit more personality. I made these on Canva. You can make them pretty easily. Let's make one together real quick. So you need a page. This has to be, so the document has to be 640 by 480, okay, pixels. And you just want to change the background color to a nice little color, whatever works for you. And then you just want to put like a cute face on it. Okay, we got a few here, a few fun ones. Let's use this one. Right? Let's say you like this. This looks cool to you. Maybe the screen's a little intense. You can always change the saturation of it a little bit, so it's not too crazy. And then you can also adjust this too if you want. Once you're satisfied with this, you can go ahead and download it. Let's go with just current page download. Okay. So our next step after downloading is we want to open it in Paint for a couple reasons. Okay. After you open it in Paint, go into File, Save As, and then you want to save it as a BMP. Okay, and then you want to make sure this is set to 24 bitmap. Okay, the file name, we also want to change it to boot_logo. Okay, and you can go ahead and save that. So now here in my photos, I do have this image. Okay, I'm going to use this. So now I want you to go into your missed partition. And you should see this folder right here. It says boot_logo.bmp.gz. Go ahead and make a backup of this. Copy it to the desktop. And then we're going to make another folder called backup. And then inside the backup folder, you want to make another copy. And just put it in there, just in case something goes wrong, okay? You have a backup of the original. Okay, and then with this one, go ahead and minimize that. You're going to right click it, you're going to use 7-zip, you're going to open archive, and then in here all I want you to do is click and hold, and it says copy to, and you're going to press yes, and now you just replace the image that was in here. So now it's not going to be MinUI anymore. If I open it over here, this is the backup. This is what the backup looks like. It looks like MinUI. This is the original boot logo. We're going to change it to a cute little face. Okay, and just like that, this thing is done. So now all you have to do is go back to your missed partition and just replace this file. You've already created a backup, so you're fine. Press replace the file. And boom, just like that, you've changed the boot logo. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to this site right here, RG35XX.com, and you're going to make sure you click on the English icon because by default I believe it's in Spanish. You're going to go over to customization, then battery charging theme. I will leave a direct link to this just so you guys know, And then I want you to grab this one right here, number 9, Min UI. Okay, this is our charging animation. Go ahead and download that. And this is super simple. So once you get this download, it's gonna look like this. Go ahead and extract that. And we're gonna have this right over here. So in here, it's a README. It's with the instructions of what you have to do. It says drop the battery, drop the battery folder in the MISC partition, and you can create a copy of the RAM disk image if you want. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and then just replace the RAM disk image. So super easy. In your MISC partition right over here, you have a RAM disk image. Go ahead and move this into backup, just in case you need it. Then right over here, copy. There's going to be a folder called MISC partition, and then inside you'll find this right over here, a battery folder. Just copy that into the root of the MISC partition, and then this RAM disk.image, go ahead and drag it over into the MISC partition and replace this file. Super easy. Okay, and just like that, you're done. You changed the charging animation. So now let's go back to the ROMs. Right over here, let's create collections now. So this is super easy. Go ahead and right click. You're gonna go into new folder. You're gonna name it collections. And then in here, we're gonna make a text file. So you're gonna press new text document. And this can be whatever you want. I'm gonna go with favorites for now. And now let's open this up and let's create a list of our favorites. So this is pretty easy. Go back, go into your ROMs, and now I'm gonna go through my games and decide which are my favorite games to make a little favorites list. So I'm gonna go into, let's go into Super Nintendo. I love Super Mario Kart. So you're gonna click it. You're gonna click over here, copy path, and then you're gonna paste it over here. Let's put this a little bit bigger. So now all you're gonna want to do is basically erase this G right here, and then all these backslashes, you want to replace them with forward slashes. So instead of this, it should look like this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add some more games. Let's go with Chrono Trigger. This is a classic. Copy path, and then you want to make a second line, paste that. Okay, you want to do this a little bit slow, just so you don't miss any of these backslashes. And remember to take off these quotation marks. So that's Chrono Trigger, and let's do A Link to the Past. Copy path. Okay. Okay, I got some more favorites in here. Let's see. How about Tetris DX? This is good. And of course, Pokemon Gold. Go ahead and get this one as well. Okay, so I think this is pretty good for our favorites list. Looks pretty decent. There's like 7 games in here.
think that's a good number. You don't want to make things too long. And of course, this can be anything you want. This can be um, your RPG backlog. This can be a game series you love, like Kirby or Pokemon or whatever you like. Dragon Quest, whatever you're into, you can put all those games together. You can even do genres. You can do fighting games, racing games, shoot 'em ups, beat 'em ups, whatever you're into. You can put together. This is just an example, and obviously this is a very good example of a favorites list. Okay, so once you're done with this, it should look like this. Everything should kind of align, making sure everything is a forward slash and not a backslash. And there should not be any quotation marks. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and save that. Okay, and now this text file is perfect. And now you can create as many of these as you want. They do take a little bit of time to put together, so I'm just doing one for now. Take your time with this, you know. Make your system yours, okay? So once you're done with that, go ahead and right click and eject this. And now let's get off the computer.
Okay guys, so we just ejected that SD card. Let's go ahead and put that into our console and let's see if we got everything right, okay? So let's see if it boots. Okay, and there's our beautiful little face. We do have collections. Let's check that out real quick. Oh, our favorites list. Okay, everything's checking out. Let's go ahead and test this. And just like that, I'm in Super Mario Kart now. By the way, guys, I'm always Toad in any of these games. I don't know why, I love Toad. Let's go. Okay, so we're just gonna end that right here. Let's test another game real quick. Let's do Tetris. Certified Classic. And everything's working well. It's gonna make me enter my name and all that. And everything's working pretty well. Now would be a good time to show you how to use this feature. You can press and hold this. Quick save created. And it's going to turn off. And now once this turns off, you can reboot it. And when you reboot it, it's going to bring you right back into the game. Absolutely love that feature. As you can see, our favorites list is working pretty well. Let's go ahead and quit. Okay, now let's check our charging animation. So let's go ahead and turn this off. This is pretty fully charged, but I'm gonna plug it in anyway just so you guys can see the animation. Ready? Let's go ahead and turn this off. So I've just gone ahead and plugged it into my computer. And now you can see that is our lovely charging animation. And like I said, it's pretty fully charged, so it's not going to be really charging right now. But if it's not charged, it will charge. You'll see the animation, and that's what that looks like. Gotta love that little face, you know. Just adds a little bit of personality to these things, because they're like your friends, you know. You gotta take care of them. So one thing I do want you to change, go ahead and get into any Game Boy game you like. Let's go into Mega Man 2 for this example. And now once you press menu, you're gonna go into options, go down to controls, and then right over here, I want you to change previous palette and next palette. Previous do L1, and next palette do R1. Okay, and what that's gonna do is basically you can now change palettes with your shoulder buttons for Game Boy games. And that is freaking awesome. I did want to show you guys as well, if you do like hotkeys, go ahead into options. You can go right here into shortcuts, and then right over here you can create shortcuts for all your most important things: save state, load state, reset game. You have a toggle fast forward and all that stuff. This is pretty important, especially for Pokemon games. For the toggle fast forward is really useful. And as you can see right here, it says supports single button and menu plus button, which is awesome. So for example, like Game Boy doesn't use X and Y, so I can map that to toggle. So let's do Y, and you could do like cycle scaling with X if you want, whatever you want. And that's gonna you can just save changes here, and then you can save for console, you can save for game. I'm gonna go ahead and save for console. That's fine. Press OK, and then you can back out of this. So now when we press X, this will cycle scaling for us. It's pretty cool. You can even change your palettes very easily. And then of course we have fast forward. So we can speed run even faster. Well, one thing I forgot actually, if you want to input, let me show you how to get that real quick.
One last thing I forgot to mention was how you can add an input tester. So if we head over into one of the latest builds of MiniUI, this is dated for January 6th. And you can go ahead and grab just the extras in here. Go ahead and open this. You can extract it, extract again. And the only thing we want to grab from this is actually go into the tools, go into RG35XX, and you'll see this here. It says input.pak. We're going to copy that onto our SD card. Okay, so go ahead into your ROMs partition right over here. And now I want you to grab that input.pak. You're going to go into tools, RG35XX, and I just want you to copy this input.pak into that folder corresponding to RG35XX. Okay, and with that you're pretty much done. You can go ahead and safely eject that.
And now when you get this booted up, you're going to notice you will have an input tester. So go down into tools right over here, and there it is, input. Click on that, and now you can test all your inputs. You can even test the power button. Usually you can't do that, which is pretty awesome. And then press start and select to quit. But yeah, that's the input tester. It's pretty useful. Usually that's a feature you only find on the stock SD card, on the stock OS. So it's nice to see here. Gonna start wrapping things up right after this.
I did want to give a quick shout out to Sean Inman, the creator of MiniUI. This guy's doing a lot of good work for the community. MiniUI is not even just for the 35XX, it's across many different retro handhelds. So if you guys can, just check out MiniUI. If you absolutely love it, go support this guy. Buy him a coffee or something. This guy's doing amazing work. And also really quick, I want to give a few shout outs to some of my favorite content creators in the same space. Shout out Tech Dweeb. This guy makes absolutely amazing videos about retro handhelds. If you guys aren't subscribed to him, just go subscribe to him. You're not gonna regret it. I want to quickly play one of my favorite clips from this guy's channel and just show you how hilarious he is. So really quick, it's just gonna be maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds. This is this small clip, and this is just a small example of some of the creativity he has on his channel. Check this out.
Oh, hello there. I'm Tech Dweeb. How you doing? Thanks for clicking on the video. There is a freaking jungle of retro handhelds out there. Oh my gosh, Hermione. I think we're lost. We're lost in the jungle. The jungle of retro handhelds. What are we gonna do, girl? Meow. You're right. I have to remember my Boy Scout training. Step 1 is to build a shelter. Meow. Yeah, this is super cozy. I think this is even more comfortable than Mom's basement. Meow. Alright, step 2 is to find some water. Ah, that's better. Ice cold and refreshing, with minimal intestinal parasites. We're freaking awesome at surviving in the jungle of retro handhelds. Okay, what was step 3 again? Meow. Oh yeah, now I need to find and kill an animal for meat. Or we could just eat some of those bananas, I guess. Good bananas. You want one, girl? Meow. And now we have a new retro.
This guy's freaking hilarious. Yeah, that's Tech Dweeb in a nutshell. Hilarious, hilarious, hilarious. So yeah, shout out Tech Dweeb. I hope he watches my stuff and he sees my shout out. I absolutely love his channel. Love his stuff. Go check him out.
So yeah, it's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's how you flash MinUI. I know it's a little bit more steps and a little bit complicated, but I assure you this custom firmware is absolutely worth it. I say give it a week, and I promise you'll probably never go back to another operating system for this handheld. So yeah, I know it's been a long video. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. My name has been Javi, and I'll see you in the next one.